It's nice, yes. Yeah, he's in our central Vermont climate.
We went out together.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. He was an incredible driver. He drove us through all that crazy
He
weather.
did? What?
Okay. So I think that we can go ahead and get started. What our intention for calling this together was for those of us that have been to Standing Rock and who have come back home to talk a little bit about what our experiences have been, to talk about what our expectations were when we went there, to talk about what it was like being there, and to talk about what we brought back with us. And for those that are considering going to Standing Rock, would like you to talk about what your expectations are and why you want to go, why you're feeling the urge to go. And for those of you that have no intention of going, but want to be a support and want to help here from our own home, let us know that too, and let us know what your feelings are. In Lakota tradition, we always do things in a circular manner. There's no end, there's no beginning. And we have a center circle, then we'll go around the outside circle, then we'll pass around the inside circle. And during the time that someone is holding these feathers, they are the only ones who will speak the first time that we go around. And we show respect by not talking and listening. Listening is something that the society has not taught us well. A lot of times we're making replies in our head to something that someone has said that we don't really hear. We don't really hear what they're saying. And so this is a good exercise to learn how to listen. And I think that it also is one of the most important things about being at Standing Rock was to learn to listen. And my experience there, I went there to help set up the Two-Spirit camp, or the LBGT camp. And for us, going back was really a risky thing, because up until recently, that's not been an okay thing to be out in the community as large as we saw there at Standing Rock. And we were pleasantly surprised when the elders asked us to come in and to be presented to the community. And so we came in and we were received and recognized. And it was very emotional for many of us, because many of us had been shunned. Many of us had been told to leave from other times and other places. For me, it was particularly emotional because 30 some odd years ago, I was asked to leave a ceremony because I was lesbian. And it drove me to begin doing an all-women's ceremony every July. for Two-Spirit women, for women and their children. And so something great came out of that. But still in my heart, I am from Standing Rock. My family is from Standing Rock. I spend a lot of time in Fort Yates and Kennel, and I know that land very well. And it was the first time that I had gone back. And so there was a lot of apprehension, trepidation about going. And I had said 30 years ago, I will not come back here until all of my brothers and sisters who identify as gay or lesbian or trans, whatever, are welcome. And I realized as we were walking down that road that I had been blessed, because I was seeing it, and I was being a part of it. So that for me was really emotional. It was also really difficult because at that time in October there were lots of actions that were happening. And when you're doing things in a prayerful way, you cannot allow yourself to give in to your anger or to your emotion. And I recall sitting on the ground with several other women praying and looking up and seeing boots and an officer standing there with a billy club. And we watched them. They wouldn't look us in the eye. And you saw the ones that stood there and with their billy clubs in their hands, they just kept hitting their hand. And you knew that those are the ones that if they were to get any little reason, that they wouldn't hesitate to use them. And then you saw others that were just kind of like confused and not knowing what to do. So it was quite an array of emotions that were there. And in many ways, the conditions were harsh and hard. But even in October, we were beginning to get ready for winter. And having been in North Dakota during a winter, I knew what was coming. And so it was really important to me that, that I see people get ready for winter. And I knew that we would be there through the winter. I'm back in Vermont now, and every day I'm in contact with someone from the Ochete Sakowee camp. And today I know some people who are leaving just about now to head out there. And it was all I could do not to say, scoot over, I want to go. There's not a day goes by that I don't think about going back. And I want to go home. And I want to make sure that that pipeline doesn't go through. And it's scary. It's scary for me. So since I've been back, I live with this whole array of emotions. And it's hard. It's hard. On the positive side, there were so many people that came, so much help that has been sent, and I'm so appreciative of that. And I know that the people that are out there right now still need a lot, mainly wood and propane, just to stay warm. So that's what I'm doing now, is trying to raise that awareness and raise that money to send to them. So,
well, I've been living with a woman with the array of emotions, so and doing what I can from here. This is where I'm called to support and to work with Two-Spirit Nation specifically. So I too have direct communication with things that are happening there, and my place to do the support is from here. So I'll continue to do that and make sure that it just doesn't happen at all costs.
I was busy listening to you and not preparing what I was going to say.
How about your name?
My name is Linda. My work is here too, but I am so thankful for the people that have gone out, that are going out, for their strength and overwhelming power to be together. I appreciate you.
I'm Casey. I just feel drawn to what's going on at Standing Rock. I mostly have been trying to stay informed and become involved in actions locally here, and to figure out what I can do from here. I've been part of many discussions and a lot around what would be the best and most effective forms of support. So that's kind of what I wanted to come here to get an update of what's going on and what is needed.
My name is Colin. First, I would like to honor the Creator, that which is above, Earth Mother, that which is below. I'd like to honor the four directions, the north, the east, the south, the west. Here with us now. I'd like to call it the center of our hearts. I left for Standing Rock November 7th or so. I returned November 28th or so with the 350 folks. While I was there, I lived at the Rosebud Sikangu camp, which is on the reservation side of the land. Like the Cannonball River is in the middle. The Camp of the Sacred Stones and Rosebud Camp are on the reservation land, but Ashari Sokoin is on 1851 treaty land, which is like a big thing for some folks because they're reoccupying native land based on the 1851 treaty. I liked living at Rosebud Camp because it wasn't as big as a Chetty Sakoin. Like our prayers at meals were almost as big as this when someone would pray, just like Beverly did, and call the directions, and we'd all hold hands, and then we all like look each other in the eye and shake hands before meals, and the women, children, the elders would go first. And when I was there, I built a lot of yurts. Built yurts for the school. Just like there's a master yurt builder from New Hampshire. And yurts are like really well insulated, and a lot of people were using them because they're more insulated than TVs, you know, because the top kind of goes off. I helped a lot with the Chetty Sakoin school because my two friends that I left Burlington with, Lizzie, who's not here, but maybe she'll come, and Kendall, her friend. Kendall knew this guy Blaze, who's Lakota Sioux, and he was kind of the director of the school there. So we had all these like projects, like helping with their like recycling compost system, which you'd be really amazed of how much trash there is. And I can't even imagine how much money, like donation money, actually goes to taking care of all the trash and recycling, because like everything, like they don't have any food that they're growing or anything. Like it's all coming in like bags and stuff like that. The dumpsters there were just filled to the brim, just with signs: "Bring your own trash home. Don't put any more trash in here." Like, you know, they had to have big, huge machines to take all the trash out. Like, I don't know where they got those machines. So I worked at the school, and I did a lot of dishwashing, which is really nice to like help the Rosebud camp with the dishwashing, and built kind of some composting toilets, and did artwork, and participated in the ceremonies, participated in the action, like where everyone got sprayed by water. That was like pretty cool. Just sprayed by water, trying to like keep the fire warm for people that were wet. And yeah, I went on a trip to the Black Hills with the school, which was like a really big honor. I let my friends go home. because I wanted to stay and go on the trip to the Black Hills with like 12 Native children and like the mentors, and it was really awesome. And got to sit with this man, grew up in Jumping Buffalo, as he like did ceremony. And then like the eagle came at Bear Butte, which is like sacred land in South Dakota, where like hundreds of tribes for a long time have gathered, not just the Lakota Sioux people. And it was really great to support in that way. And yeah, I just want to like, I went down to the lake and got some water from Lake Champlain that's in the middle of the circle. And I was really cold. And then I think of it as a joke because like it was like 24 degrees today, and in Standing Rock it's like 3 degrees. So my hands were cold, but then they would have been 20 degrees colder if I was in Standing Rock, and I was only out there for like a couple hours, and they're mostly out there all day. So I just want to like honor them for like being out in the cold and like learning that medicine. It's like really challenging to do.
I'm Gail, and I had the privilege and the honor of going up to Standing Rock with a group organized by Brittany, 350 Vermont. And I came back a changed person. I went out just to see and to witness and to support it, because that was a lot more meaningful to me than staying home and sending money out in an envelope. And so I was glad for the opportunity to participate in a community that just represented so many of my deep personal values, and the depth of comfort that I felt there, just being with people that I felt I could talk to and trust. Everywhere I turned was just remarkable. And the ongoing prayers that you heard all day and all evening just penetrated my soul. Helped me feel connected to the struggle on a level that I have not before. So thank Brittany and others for making it possible. And to my friends and the us that were supportive. And all of you.
I'm Catherine, and that's a hard act to follow. But I can agree with a lot of things, or all the feelings that Gail had, I had as well. Went out on the bus too. It was very powerful, because when you looked at the camp, it looked like poverty, you know, a refugee camp or anything like that. And yet when you were there and you talked to the people, it was so rich. And I think the most amazing thing was on Thanksgiving in the action when the police and the firemen, the 90 of them that were standing on top of Turtle Island, were talking to us. We're demonstrating down below. And they basically agreed to not shoot, and the Indians agreed to not climb up and provoke them. And so many hours were spent there, and the Indians did their ceremony, and then in the end, when this sort of collaboration happened, the sun came out, and one of the elders said, "See, everybody's won." You could tell because the sun came out, and then we formed this big circle of probably 1,000 people, and everybody was sort of chanting and drumming, and it's just the most amazing feeling. So when I came home, I heard the drumming in my head for 2 days. And so the second day I woke up, I lived in Charlotte out in the woods, in the co-housing. I woke up at 6 and I heard the drumming, but nobody was calling me to prayer. But I went out into the forest. We have a mother oak that is sort of a sacred tree that used to be a place where people came a lot in the community, but they don't now. It's all overgrown with other trees. But I went out there at 6 in the morning in the dark and built a fire. And there were 2 owls, and they were talking to me. Just hooting, and I was hooting back. And it slowly got light, and then the owls were quiet, and then the crows started talking to me. And it was, I just felt so much of a connection with the earth, with myself, with the people in Standing Rock. And it's sort of being there gave me hope for us, all people, being able to make something good out of our situation here. So since then, I've been working on cutting down trees around the mother oak so that it becomes, we were told to do that by the forester because it's being smothered by these trees. But that space can become a sacred place. And I was thinking of offering in that to any people, either native people or anybody, to come out and do ceremonies. So I don't have to do them by myself. So it was really a gift to be able to be there. And I think another change is that I somehow became more tolerant of people when I got back home. Less judgmental, more tolerant, and just more hopeful. And one of the elders said we should act out of hope, not out of fear.
I'd really like my husband to create an app to go on phones so I can just randomly set off everyone's cell phone across Turtle Island, and then it would say, "Water protectors, wake up! It's time to pray. It's going to be a good day today." I went out and my nephew was out there when they first desecrated the sacred sites in end of September. And I was supposed to be out there then, and I couldn't get out there until later in October. And then drove out in my war pony. And Vermont's a generous place on many levels. Both trips, I took over 1,000 pounds of donated organic produce to all the kitchens. So my pony came back. We came back and we stayed here for 3 days, and then we went back again. Like, it was a quick turnaround. It was a lot. It's not that long of a commute to North Dakota.
Really?
I think I'm listening to the questions that you asked, Beverly, and listening deeply, and there's places I'm really I'm searching around healing my judgments. It's been hard to live in Vermont. I've only been here 3 years. And, and I look white, so it should be pretty easy for me. One of the places I grew up was in Lumbee territory. And when I was a kid in the 70s, we heard about Wounded Knee every day in my house and what was happening in 73. And, and my brothers, who were a lot older than me, were very connected to it. So it was pretty amazing when I got to connect with Beverly in this way, and I got to meet one of the lawyers who was there at Wounded Knee, 73, and I've, since I was 21, I've had a dedication to the youth of the 7th generation, and they're the ones who really called me to Standing Rock. I had a lot of nephews and nieces saying, "So, are we going? What's happening? You know, I'm going. I don't know what's going to happen." And so that was a big piece of what called me and still calls me. I'm in direct contact with people, particularly in what's the name rotates of what it's called, whether it's the front lines or the agitators or Yoka, or the name changes depending on who you're talking to. So I'm very aware of, daily what's happening there now. And it's so far from over, and I think my heart aches for, I'm having conversations with people that are like, "Are you going to the Women's March?" And I'm like, "Can we just get everybody out to Standing Rock? Can we just get everybody out?" Because if we stop this pipeline, if we draw the line, then we're not going to have this conversation anymore. It will ripple affect everything. Racism, sexism, colonialism, environmentalism. It will. Because that's part of colonization, is they want us to stay scattered and be monoliths of arguments. And I'm feeling the gratitude of being safe and warm in this particular moment, and I'm so grateful. Right before we got here, I got to pick up a friend who I met at Standing Rock because we became each other. We tracked each other when Dapple Police was chasing us. Sometimes I feel like I'm that 9-year-old back in the 70s, just really wanting people to understand and get it. I'm like, why haven't we gotten it yet? I think there's a lot. There's so much, and I want to honor time and space and the number of people in this room. And I think one of the pieces I'm just really hoping that we all can get woken up by what's happening at Standing Rock is not a faux unity. It's colonized thinking. It's, I used to call it white thinking or white attitude, but I've started to call it colonized thinking or colonized attitude. Because I was there when the camp would swell and when it would decrease, and there was a lot of watchers, a lot of people who came just to see, what are the Indians doing? What's it like to be an Indian? I think I'll pretend to be an Indian today. And peace, justice, it's not a weekend warrior idea. It's not my favorite songs from Fight Club. This is not a weekend retreat. This is life. It's ending 1 minute at a time. And a solid unity comes from a listening to each other. I'm walking also within my heart today that the last day of the trial was yesterday for my dear friend's family in Charleston, South Carolina, you know, my friend who was shot in the church. And, you know, we have so much going on, and there's so many layers, and there's a real weaving that's happening at Standing Rock that's about, it would just blow my mind if we all just went there. It would shift so much of what's been happening on this continent since 1492 and shift the trajectory that we've been on. And if you've got a really good snowplow, I suggest you be one of the people that goes out there. Why don't?
My name is Liz. First, I'd like to offer an enormous, immeasurable gratitude to the water projectors. I don't think there's words in the English language for how big I want to express how large this gratitude is. My work is here right now. I'm a poet trying to rise out of my own shell to try to connect with other artists to try to help. I've been trying to convince people to move their money that they have in banks, to co-op, to credit unions. But lately I've been thinking about how storytelling can be used as healing. And so I'm interested in connecting with other artists to try to do things, direct actions to raise money here. And that's where I am. Just thank you.
I'm Lissy. I am here to learn and find how I can be a better support going forward. I'm not trying to go out to Standing Rock right now. I'm trying to be a support here. And I'm just here to learn and support best I can.
I'm Kathy, and you know, I really came here today to listen and learn also. My partner and I have, you know, as a family, have donated money, and you know, we know what is really needed, and you know, Mother Earth is the only one we have. This is not an issue for somebody else. It's an issue for all of us. And, you know, as we sit on this body of water, like somebody said earlier, that's getting polluted, you know, and all over the place, you know, we're destroying Mother Earth and in many ways. And I appreciate everything that everybody's doing out there. And, you know, we're just trying to do what we can do financially, and to just keep learning about it.
I'm Laura, and I haven't been out to Standing Rock and really think probably won't be going out there. I've had thoughts, but for now I'm here. And have been following it really closely, you know, mostly through social media. It's pretty amazing how much information is getting out, you know, considering the mainstream news only covered it for like a week. Yeah, I mostly came here tonight to listen as well and hear from people who had been there and really soak some of that in and reinvigorate to continue acting here. I've been doing some work with through Rights and Democracy around bank divestment, and so mostly thinking about TD Bank and how institutions like UVM use TD Bank, the state of Vermont uses TD Bank. I used TD Bank until about a couple weeks ago, and so kind of trying to regroup around that and think about how we push those sort of ideas forward and think, you know, move towards credit unions and investing out in our community, in our neighbors. Yeah, also interested in ways to connect and support Indigenous people right here in Vermont. Really looking to learn and understand how to best support, you know, the Abenaki, the people from here. Yeah. I've been out to Standing Rock. But I'm here to learn to listen as well. I'm here to learn and to listen as well. And I'm very interested in hearing everyone's perspective and how some affects them. What we can all do as a community here. Thank you.
I'm Michael, and I'm just here to get better informed.
My name's Andrea, and I thank everyone for sharing their stories. The more I listen, the more I hear little pieces of feelings and it's hard to describe in words, but in everyone's story here, I feel happy to actually hear them come out. I guess I just want to express my gratitude. That it's really hard to embrace pain, I guess. And I've worked with a lot of refugees in different places around the world, and it's when people don't have their earth and that they're displaced. I definitely have a lot of compassion and understanding for that, and that's really important for people to have a piece of earth to pray, to grow their food, to be connected to the earth. And so I definitely feel very strongly about that. I have not been to Standing Rock, but I feel that it's not just in a physical place. There's a spiritual kind of battle going on, and the closer we become to Earth, I feel the stronger we can be to knowing ourselves and it's just, again, lots of gratitude for that, and being able to work with youth to help them build that connection.
My name is Kirk. I have not been to Standing Rock. I am extremely proud and honored that humans have actually gone and stopped, and somewhat successfully so far. I'm so happy and so much gratitude for the actual permit not going through. And so much gratitude for all the people that are that are out there now on all for the benefit of the earth, for the benefit of all people, and I'm here really enjoying listening and yeah, trying to hold that spiritual grounding and just prayer.
My name is Cheryl, and I have not been to Standing Rock, and I don't yet fully know all of the ways that I can help make this world be the world I want it to be. I feel some sense of calling and exploring that. I think there are the small concrete ways of donating, of prayer, of understanding what changes we can make even in small ways in our own community, in a connectedness to help support. And I think I'm still learning, writing letters, signing petitions, speaking, using voice in some way. I feel sad. I feel disappointed in our current culture, that greed seems to be such a dominant force, and how challenging that is to combat in some thoughtful and meaningful way. And I feel particularly pained by the injustices to the people, and the repeated injustices and broken promises, and that feels somehow more offensive to me than even the harm to the earth, though I respect and get that as well. I think that it's sort of that dual trauma. So I don't know. I think I'm looking for ways to understand and do what I can to help heal.
My name is Marjorie, and I am here to listen and learn, like many have said, and I have not been to Standing Rock. I've learned a little bit about it from my mother, who I'm sitting next to. She has been, and I really also want to offer gratitude and appreciation for everyone who has gone out there or will go out there to support the community of folks who live there and are standing up against greed, big oil, the desecration of the earth, and disrespect for Indigenous rights.
My name is Casey. I work with 350 Vermont and know Brittany and a lot of the people who are associated with going out on the bus from here that Brittany organized. I too would say that being at Standing Rock was a deeply transformational experience for me, and I don't even know the ways that will manifest yet. One night while I was out there, and I was out there for the nights building up to a full moon the middle of November, I think it was. It was before you guys went out, Thanksgiving. And there was the International Indigenous Youth Council led a walk down along just a beautiful road down along the water. We walked for a long time, and then we had a fire down there, and prayers were offered. And there was one thing that the young man who was offering the prayer said that has just stuck with me so pointedly, and it was, they prayed for the police, they prayed for the people who work on the pipeline, and he said, remember, they don't know what we know. And that's sort of what I feel is my personal challenge, is to how to communicate to people who don't know what we know, and to have some common ground that we can share together, and not to. I've been an activist most of my life, and it's been a pretty antagonistic kind of activism, where you're fighting against somebody, and I think that's the whole profound message of Standing Rock, is that you're not doing that. You're in a separate time and place and space, and you are, with prayer and intention, creating a different way. And I am so happy to be here with all of you and to feel the solidarity here. And I just think it's so important that we keep supporting and lifting each other up, so that we can create lots more Standing Rocks.
Hello, my name is Rod, and I was honored to be able to go to Sunday Suckman Camp on November 30th. I felt the calling when the call was made out for anybody who could make it there, to be able to head out there. And so many people, I'm from the Rutland area, so many people wanted to go out and had so many supplies that they wanted to get out there. So I found myself as like a conduit of getting some people together, getting a van together. It all worked out. We loaded up our van with medical supplies, women hygiene supplies, clothing, because that was big then. And one of the things when I got there is like, one thing I'll never forget was stand with your heart and lead with your love. The love that was at that community when I was there, it was just an amazing thing that to be part of that. And when we were out there, we wanted to be providers and givers, not takers. They didn't want people to go out there that would get caught up in having to be needing. And so we went out with our supplies. We tried to be self-sufficient. We got out there November 30th. It was right after the big storm hit, one of the storms, and the whole climate of the camp changed from almost like a survival mode. And it brought everybody together, collecting firewood, helping people that were coming in. There was an incredible surge of people that came in while I was there, because there was a build up to the December 4th eviction of the camp. And so that weekend before the eviction, the veterans came. Thousands of people came. I couldn't even find my tent. Most of the time I'd go back to the tent, the perimeter expanded out from the jetty camp. It was amazing. And our tent blew down, it almost caught fire, so I was at the dome tending the fire there. And the first night I was there, I was smoked out because somebody didn't know how to use the stove and smoked everybody out. But one of the things I'll never forget was the first night I was there, we got smoked out of our tent. And it was around 6 o'clock, and the call to prayer was coming. And you could hear the Minnewood County, the call to prayer. So I went to the prayer circle around 6 o'clock, and then going down to the water ceremony at the Cannonball River and being part of that incredible experience. It was an amazing thing for me to be part of. And then the orientation, because coming from a colonized culture and a privileged white person, to go there and to focus why we were there. I try to decolonize everybody there, even the native people. There's the colonizational aspect that happened to everybody. Try to be aware of that and focus on trying to break that apart and decolonize, like you said, your mind. And the support, the community there, it was hard to leave. I had a hard time coming back. Vermont's a beautiful place, but coming back to my job and to the people here, it was a hard transition. But I brought back the spirit of Standing Rock and try to, my community, my neighbors, just that love that I found there in the spirit and the power. is like you were saying, Casey, that it just bring that, and it's symbolic of what we can do in the future. Just have as many standing rocks, and it's a state of mind, and the people there. It was just incredible. It just gave me the hope and spirit that together, when we stand, we can accomplish anything we set our minds to. Anyway, John.
Yeah, I'm feeling incredibly proud and incredibly grateful of many people in this room and many people in my life who I've met over the many years. And I also believe that giving power back to the indigenous people of this land is one of the most important things that we as settlers of a colonial state can do. And I think it is one of the most powerful things individually to support indigenous people, but also on a spiritual level as well as politically, and actually decolonizing ourselves and who we are, and the things that we have been taught for generations. And I want to acknowledge that this is Abenaki land here, and that there's some deep history here as well that also needs some healing. Thank you.
My name is William. So I thank you, Beverly, for beginning this in prayer, and for this brother right here for speaking his heart and just being honest and direct and clear. And I struggled on whether or not to come tonight, and I think I really struggled on whether or not to come tonight, and eventually just kind of decided to come and see really about being here. And my heart has been a bit heavy since returning about a week ago. First time in November, second time right before Christmas. And I feel like, I'm still trying to integrate and kind of heal from what it was like being there, and just kind of bring my soul back home and help it kind of land here with my spirit and my body. I work with the Medic Healer Council in the camp. I work in, for lack of a better term, what we call mental health, wellness, and with a really incredible bunch of people. I give a lot of thanks for that, and it's been a super humbling privilege to be there in that way. And I think it's really difficult as well. Working in that way there, you have to hear the stories of what everyone is going through. And I've held space for a lot of stories in my work and in my life, and these were some of the hardest ones this time. The winter is hard, and the commitment of those who are there right now is intense, and they're suffering like greatly to stay there and sacrificing a lot. And when they break, and when it quakes inside them, it breaks and quakes in a really powerful way. And then there's like a renewal and a restored sense of courage and a sense of purpose and connection. But something about right now is like the shadow of everything was alive. Like the shadow of everything was working, was like up. And everything that happens outside of the camp happens inside the camp, so we were dealing with very sensitive, tricky issues. The one really most troubling is around, rape, rape of women, rape of men, in a cross-sectional way that is non-dependent on one's culture. And this was very painful to sit with, and kind of moved me from coming to camp as a witness, and as like a space holder for those who were ready to have space held for them, to a lot of feelings of anger and inside of me, and feeling kind of then drawn in, and having to really work with that. And I felt like I just been kind of trying to integrate that a lot on my own, and it's been hard, so it feels kind of good to sit here in this group and tell this story. And what a lot of us that were working there at the time kind of emerged, we just felt like it was, it's been a spiritual kind of like battle, or like a spiritual sort of war, like from the start, and it just felt so heavy this time. It just felt so heavy because we began to feel as if we're also dealing with the black snake, like inside of all of us, the shadow side of all of us, the darkness inside of all of us. We're dealing with those parts of men who refuse to yield to women, or ensure that women get to be safe without their gratuitous hands or their lack of consent. And it's no different than the bulldozer who rips up the soil and rips up the earth, rips up the burial grounds to put the snake in the ground. And it's just as painful and heavy to sit with that, and like a deeper level of what's going on. It's like the camp is a microcosm for the earth and for the world. And I just felt a lot of hurt around that, and also just like a lot of like that sense of trying to confront that feels so hard and so profound sometimes, that I've wanted to really shrink away. I wanted to like hide a bit, heal up a bit. And I want to pray and ask, for us all to pray, maybe just in whatever our way is, that as that shadow side inside of us and inside the camps, like, is up, that we pray for that to heal. We pray for, people to begin to, like, take a hard look at that. And, respect one another in the same way that we're demanding that the earth be respected and that this pipeline be stopped. And include that. I just want to speak to that. It's hard to speak to that. It's hard to speak to that with this camera on me. I don't like it. But that's reality as I saw it there. It's not the only reality, but it's a part of what's unfolding. And I really give thanks for y'all for bearing witness to that, and it just helps me to heal some, to speak to it. And thank the Creator for just letting me be there and letting me kind of like weather the storm that it felt like to be there, and the storm kind of in coming back. And I just appreciate that guidance and
My name is Robin, and I am sending support to Standing Rock via Sacred Vibrations. Myself and my sounding like partner Kirk work with Tibetan singing bowls and didgeridoo and gongs, and when I use these sacred instruments, I couple them with intentions to go to the water here and out to the people at Standing Rock. And like Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world. I do my best to embody that and help others to come into a calm, balanced, meditative state, and be outside of thought and be inside of being. And that's my way of being here and supporting folks there, and also using sacred vibrations and intentions to do ceremony here at our lake.
My name is Sophie. I'm grateful.
My name is Yepeth Perla. I'm grateful to the Peace and Justice Center. Peace and Justice, that's what this is all about. I'm not going to Standing Rock. I'm grateful for everyone who is there and who has been there, and realize this is a time of wounds that have been happening throughout history coming up in all of our faces, and rewiring patterns that are really unhealthy, that are based on genocide. And it's difficult to realize that much of the reality in Vermont is based on genocide of people who are here. I broke my knee protesting the pipeline in Vermont in solidarity with Standing Rock, and realized that day that I wasn't going to get to go to Standing Rock. I was planning on going, that my work was here, and there's a pipeline that's a couple miles away that is close to being completed in the next couple weeks, and there's a bunch of us that are trying to put some actions together in the next couple weeks, and hopefully we can stop it. And also there's many Abenaki people in the state. I'm working with some, and we're the particular issues that are, there is a longhouse that is being reborn, and cultural centers, and there's a lot of support that's needed, and particularly in reworking the sovereignty, the laws, because they're another version of Jim Crow laws, and there's a lot of support needed in even projects like changing the name of Columbus Day. That's an effort happening in the state. Peace and Justice Center is helping support. And I also believe that the decolonization process of ourselves is super important. I've been in the study group, a decolonization study group, the past year in Montpelier, and we've been studying history of the Abenaki people and reading about it, and I was just shocked, even though I knew about it intellectually, I didn't cellularly understand just how many people and what was on this land before this colonization happened to such a degree that most people, the youth today growing up here, don't realize that, and how much of our daily reality is based on this. So you have to work really hard to get out of the bubble. And even our language, words like New England, that's an offensive word to many indigenous people. And so just decolonizing ourselves, our thought patterns, our behavior patterns, is an ongoing process. Getting in touch with our own ancestors and our own roots, and even that often needs decolonizing. And I believe the power of prayer that's been modeled at Standing Rock is the great way, and transformation can happen on levels far beyond the other techniques that have been used, though many of them help. So I just holding the good light vision that the good for all way is gonna win, and those who are misguided and lost and hurting, as was mentioned, someone mentioned here, that those folks just don't know. They just don't know. So having compassion and empathy is a real reminder, and parts of ourselves need that healing and rewiring. And the warriors who are there, just continually sending them warmth and strength and nourishment and regeneration. Oh, shalom.
wasn't expecting to be here tonight, so I definitely wasn't expecting to speak. But it's been amazing. I was in a pretty intense meeting before this, so this has been. I kind of feel like I want to cry a lot, and I kind of want to go to sleep. But when I kind of first became aware of Standing Rock, I felt like maybe I was being pulled there. I wasn't really sure. It hasn't happened. I haven't been there, but it's been kind of like an insanely beautiful like spot on the back of my mind while I've been doing the work here that I'm doing. I'm gonna like get emotional, but like we do a lot of emotional labor for each other, you know. And when people over there are doing this, all the way over here, it was just like this little bright spot while everything else was happening, you know. And like this election was rough, but there were people just saying no. And you know, you're taught as a woman, you know, don't say no, don't be ornery all the time, you know. But like, I'm really determined in this year to just say no a lot. Just say no to stuff, you know. Just say no, I'm not into that. That's crazy. Just, and the meeting I was in, we're trying to, I don't need to get in the details, but it involves like trying to convince a lot of people that I work with, young people, that we can train ourselves to kind of be the determiners of our own conditions and our own workspace, and you know, our own what we create. And it's so hard, and I don't know if that's what it means to try and decolonize yourself, but there are a lot of people out there who don't know what it means to exist outside of the process that they were taught, which is work and school. And, you know, just being trapped, like, you know, maybe I couldn't go to Standing Rock because I'm, you know, in debt to my, you know, to my college or whatever. Like, a lot of us are trapped in these systems, and it's really hard to just tell someone that, like, no, you're really free beyond all that. You can go somewhere and just say no to all the bullshit. So, having people do this work in Standing Rock has kind of gotten me through some really hard months, and I can't really say thank you enough. But it just reminded me to get out of my own head, I guess.
To give extra time to people who've been, so people who haven't been might keep their thoughts shorter. Because it is 6:45, and I don't know who else in this culture
We're on
we live
Lakota
in.
time.
Yeah. Just for anybody who was expecting to play by those rules. Thought we should make mention.
Well then, my name is Jennifer, and I'm going to pass this to you.
Thanks, Jennifer. My name is Stephen. I'm here to listen to stories from people who have been, but the reason that I'm here is because I find it amazingly inspiring. As some people have said, the conjunction of the election and Standing Rock makes it evident to me, as it was not so evident before, that the power of the Spirit is, you know, pervading all that's going on. It's not partitioned someplace, and in spite of all these people that are in the dream of the global capitalist nightmare at this point, not knowing about this connectedness, the synchronicity of Standing Rock is makes it evident to me that the world is being held in the power of the commitment of the earth and the humans together, and the earth finds some value in the humans offering what we're able to offer. And I can't remember what else I wanted to say.
My name is Rose. I'm from North Dakota, about 2 hours north of Standing Rock. So I have been home in North Dakota, going back and forth to Standing Rock, bringing supplies. People would mail art, all sorts of wonderful things to bring down to Standing Rock. A very, very powerful experience with people who are for pipeline in Minot, North Dakota, where I'm from. It was very painful to even be with family, trying to say, like, no, this isn't going to happen. Standing up to them and losing respect from some family, actually, by going back and forth to the Standing Rock and trying to balance that relationship was definitely difficult. But I would spend a lot of time in the herbal tents making medicines, and it has inspired me to move back to Vermont to study herbalism further, to see what I can do from here.
I have known about Standing Rock for a while now and have followed it empathically through all of you, and I really like water. I think it should be sacred and protected. Thank you for holding it down.
My name is Jesse, and I don't cry much, but anytime I really connect with my experience at Standing Rock, I cry a lot. So much has already been said that echoes what I feel. I'm deeply grateful to, particularly to the Standing Rock people, for and the youth council, the elders council, for fearlessly leading the way. For standing up. For not waiting for someone else to do it. For fearlessly leaning into their traditions and doing it their way, despite hundreds of years of unimaginable suppression, to believe in themselves and believe in their way. And giving all of us something to lean into. When the colonized traditions kind of show their cracks and their seams, and I think being at Standing Rock for me was like having everything that I've always known to be true on the deepest level be validated simply through the quiet way of being that pervaded so much, what was behind so much of the actions and what was going on. And for those who haven't been, I don't want to, in saying that, I want to be really clear. I'm not trying to paint a rosy picture or a glorified picture. Because it was, as others have alluded to, it wasn't perfect and there's a lot of human stuff going on, but I've told this story to a few people to kind of give them a sense of what I mean. I was talking with this young warrior who he'd been there since the beginning, and he was having a really hard time. He was about to go home for a bit and come back later, but he was frustrated. I think he was frustrated with the decision the elders had made at one point, and he was venting about it, the way anyone would. But from all the different activist things I've been involved with and protests and whatnot, what I would be used to at that moment is for that young man to, in some way just act out of a kind of a fuck you, like, so fuck them for saying that and, for ruining everything, and, and maybe he'd just separate off and do his own thing or find someone else who would join him in doing it in a different way. But what he said in that moment was, so I'm going to go home and I'm going to get my head straight. And he said, I'm going to pray, I'm going to sweat, so I can come back in a good way. And it was a lot of humbling for me in witnessing that. This wasn't someone who was doing or saying that lightly. He'd been putting his life on the line for months. He'd just been handed some direction that felt like was undermining what he'd been putting his life on the line for months, and in that moment what he leaned into was something bigger than his own ego. He leaned into something bigger than even his own belief of what should be done. And I don't see that very often in my life on that level, and especially not from someone so young. And that's what I mean. Like, that's what I come home with, and that's what I carry with me each day now. And that's why I also believe, like it's been said here, that we all should stand with Standing Rock and see it through to the end and flood it with as many people as possible until it's ended. And this has really been a clear no to the crazy.
I'm Jackson. I was at Standing Rock briefly in late September, and then again in early November for 10 days when I met Catherine and Jesse at the legal tent where I was volunteering, and then we also went on some direct actions together, both as legal observers and just as water protectors. One of the things, I think beyond just stopping DAPL, one of the things I'm really hopeful and curious to see what the other effects of what's been going on at Standing Rock are. The many, many different peoples, both Indian and non-Indian, who have been gathering there and making connections and praying and taking part in all the ceremony. I think there's going to be consequences, good consequences from that we aren't aware of yet. And I'm hopeful about that and really curious to see what they are.
My name is Noelle. Being here and listening to all of you speak, has given me a lot of hope, and I'm here to listen. I'm Lauren. And I'm here to listen also.
My name is Arantha, and I have a lot of gratitude for the water and the water that is in all of you people and in all of everything. I was at Standing Rock from mid-November until mid-December. And I went there from, I went from California to there, and now back to this place, Vermont, which is where I was raised. And I left, I was in California doing this program that I was like really excited about, but ended up having to leave the program pretty quickly because realized the ways in which it probably wasn't going to be a healthy space for me to be as a person of color. And so I left and I went to Standing Rock, and I knew that going to Standing Rock, like seeing someone just like literally praying for water and seeing people being violent towards them was gonna be like really disturbing, and I feel like it was, and that's what I saw. It's a part of what I saw, and so I'm now trying to like figure out how to be with all of that, and in a lot of ways, I saw a number of people from Vermont out there, and saw Colin on that night of when they were spraying all this water, and I just like, I just feel, I don't know, I feel like in a lot of ways it just like epitomized a lot of fears. Like I had all these fears of like, I don't know, I had all these fears, and just seeing that was just like all this fear manifested about the way that things are right now. So I'm trying to figure out how to be with that, and also in coming back to Vermont, I feel like I always was trying to like leave Vermont in some ways, even though I love it so much, because in a lot of ways I don't think that Vermont, growing up here, was a healthy space for me to be as a person of color, and so coming back here, I'm just, I feel committed to this place, and I also just feel like there's so much that needs to be done before Vermont is and the people of Vermont are in right relationship with the land here and with the people whose land it truly is. And I just feel like there's lots to be done.
My name is Lizzie, and I'm really grateful for this space. I wasn't sure that I was going to come, but I'm really grateful that I came and that Colin nudged me to come. I went to Standing Rock in September and then again in November, and on one level, I didn't really know why I was going the first time, and on another level, it felt undeniable why I was going. I just felt there was not really a choice. Like what I was feeling inside was to go, and so I trusted that and I followed that, and it was a short trip, but then it led me to go back in November, and there's just so much to say. I really resonate a lot with what everyone has shared, and in particular about the the prayerful way that it's happening, that struck me a lot. It was really powerful. I've not been attracted to activism, mainly because of this masculine way of doing it, like this aggressive way, and feeling like that actually is perpetuating this cycle of you're fighting against the fight, and I just don't like that. It doesn't feel right to me. So initially what really drew me was the prayer and the way that was being held, and the prayers for the DAPL workers and the law enforcement, and yeah, it's just very, very profound. I felt really humbled there. I didn't think about going back. I came back and just didn't consider returning. But after listening to everyone, it's coming back again. So I'm gonna sit with that. And I got here late, so I don't know if there was discussion about people organizing to go back in the winter or in the spring or sometime. But I would be interested to know if that was something people were planning to do. Something that was also really powerful was a Native man there thanked everyone for coming. It was during a ceremony, and he also encouraged us to look at our own ancestry. And I've done much of that, and I felt really connected to my lineage when I was there, and to the genocide that happened to my Armenian ancestors. And it's not really something I could put into words, but it was a very deep connection that felt like I'm not living on that ancestral land. I have lived there, but I won't go back and live my life there. And yet in some way, being there felt like it was of service to that healing as well, because I'm in this country, and it's not my ancestral land, but there is a need for people to commit to standing with natives of this land and their rights. And so it felt like an opening door for me somehow in the healing of my lineage too. So yeah, I'm so grateful that people are here with an open heart and are sharing from their heart, and the circles are needed more. So when I think about what, if you're not feeling the call to go, like what can be done, and I feel like these are the things that should be happening. The circles and the sharing and keeping the information on the surface and praying. Just really pray. And the love against the hatred and the negativity. It's not going to work when we combat it with aggression and violence. So, thank you.
Hi, my name's Jackson, and I came here to listen and to learn. I have not been to Standing Rock, and unfortunately will not be able to make it there, but very inspired by everyone who is there, and I have a really, really deep respect for people who have been there, and I've just learned so much by hearing stories of people that have been there. It's taught me a lot more than what I thought about the cause, and yeah, I've been on a small level supporting the cause from here at home, taking part in some water cleanups and water prayers, and working with some youth groups, trying to, encourage them to take part in the discussion and raise some money to send over there.
is Brittany, and I just am so grateful to be here. And thank you so much for holding this space. I really resonate with what you were saying earlier about this kind of go, go, go activist, very aggressive culture that I certainly have been activated in, and just that's my norm. And so getting here made me slow down and come back to a place of reflection that I'm rarely in, and that I was in when I was at Standing Rock. So I'm just very grateful for you all for sharing, and for letting me listen. I was able to go to Standing Rock for a week at the end of November, and also got to go with a number of folks from Vermont. There was a bus that went, and there was also a delegation of folks who were helping in the construction and weatherization efforts at Standing Rock. And they had connected directly with the people who already were on the ground there. I have, I guess, a few of my biggest takeaways. One that I've been saying and thinking about a lot is I've never publicly been in a space where beauty and violence lives so closely. And I think some of those scenes have been illustrated really well in the words that have been spoken. It's amazing that I've spent, this amount of time living as a human and haven't seen that close juxtaposition of love and beauty before. I think that speaks to my privilege in my life that I hold. I think another big takeaway that I came back with was really seeing and feeling how I hold settler colonialism, and noticing. So we were there on the weekend of so-called Thanksgiving, and we were there when I say we, I mean the bus that I came with. And so there was this surge of people, of non-native folks, and a lot of white folks. And I think that, it just highlighted the gross violence that settler colonialism is, and how, it's just something that I've been thinking about as I come back here. And so really bringing purpose to my own unlearning of settler colonialism, unlearning of racism as much as I can. And obviously it's never a one and done process. It's a lifelong journey. But that is something that I've been deeply sitting with, and many other things, and also look forward to more conversations, more deep connections with people here, and I'm again just grateful that I was able to go out there, and am both excited about the prospect of possibly returning and also for contributing to future efforts to stop pipelines all over this continent, and I'm working here in Vermont, but also, the enormity of our work is endless, but I'm grateful to be a part of it, and thank you all again.
I'm Timberly, and I came here this evening to reflect off of the words of other people, to kind of charge myself up, and also to film some of this evening. I have not gone out to Standing Rock. My heart goes out to the people who have gone and who are still there. I really feel a lot of the emotions that are swirling in that space. I don't know if I will be making it out there while it's still a thing that is happening. I certainly pray that resolutions can be found and held quicker than I can manage to get out there. In the meantime, I really I feel and reflect so much with the different stories that have come from people who have gone there, who haven't gone there, how they feel. And I intend to continue to work on my own field in the web of the larger field to root out the things in myself that are the reflection of the things that have gone crazy in the world. And I intend to continually envision the transmutation of fear into love. I'm really, really grateful to be surrounded by so many like-minded intentions that are in this room and in this community, in this land here, in the whole world. There's a lot of us, and we're really doing some powerful work these days, and Standing Rock is symbolic of all of that. Thank you for listening.
I want to thank you all for sharing, and in respect for everyone's time. As a Lakota woman, I'm accustomed to sitting in circles such as this that can go on till 2 or 3 in the morning, sometimes until dawn. Not everyone is used to that. But, for my people, it is no accident that this is happening. This was prophesied a long time ago, that this black snake would come and that its head would be chopped off. So we fully expect that we will be successful here. But that won't be the end of it. And it's not going to happen in the next month or 2. It can drag on all the way through next summer into next winter. And there are Native people across this country like myself who for whatever reason cannot be there, who will have this heaviness in their heart, as I have in my heart, that I am not there, that I have to be here. And it's not that I don't like all of you. That's my home. That's where my people come from. And it's no accident that it's Standing Rock. For some of you who don't know the history, Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse were 2 of the last groups of people who were herded onto reservations. And the Shine River Agency, just below Standing Rock, was where Crazy Horse was from. And Standing Rock is where Sitting Bull was from. I'm privileged and honored to say that I am a descendant of both of those tribes, both of those bands, my grandfather and my grandmother's side. So this is genetic memory is really, really real. It's very strong. Right now, in the dead middle of winter, when you're in North Dakota, when a blizzard comes up, they ban all travel. All travel. If your car is caught on the road driving, and they have issued a travel advisory, you can be fined up to $1,000 and your car will be towed. That's how serious they are about keeping people safe there. That's not the tribe. This is the state. So I would not recommend that anyone think about getting their snowshoes out and going out there right now. I strongly feel that recognizing the things that are needed, the things that sustain their lives, like money for wood, propane, the money to get rid of the trash. Composting toilets need certain things to compost well, and that all costs money. And so right now, that's the best thing that we can send. If you know someone who is there in a certain camp, do a bunch of baked goods and chocolate and send it to them. There's addresses you can send to. I send things to the Two-Spirit camp. The last bunch of stuff I sent was a very large pair of boots because there was someone there who had a large foot, and a bunch of toe warmers because that's what they had asked for, because that's how cold it was getting. In the spring, round about March, it's still going to be cold there, but you're going to start having a thaw, and that's when people are going to be needed. I don't know how many of you have lived in Vermont through a heavy snow. I imagine most of you. And when the snow melts, what do you see?
Dog poop.
Dog poop, right?
Yeah, our dog would say dog toys because our dog takes them outside and loses them in the snow. But I have never, ever walked outside my door in March, April, and May and seen the snow wash everything clean. There's always been trash that has to be picked up, things that got buried under snow that I didn't know that were there. The same thing's going to happen there. And that's when they're going to need help. They're going to need help. Right now, the other thing that's needed, I forgot to mention, money for snow shovels. People have snow plows. I mean, those things are essential. The county is not going in through the camps with their snow plows. They are not doing anything to try to be helpful. And the tribe can only do so much. So, as I was saying, I think it's interesting that the last two tribes, the last two bands that were put on reservations are the two that are leading us into a new era. And they talk about the seventh generation. This is the seventh generation. And this whole action is being led by the youth and by the women. You don't see a lot of the women up front because they're so busy doing the work. The Two-Spirit camp is being held together by a couple of women. There are a lot of men that come there. There are a lot of transgendered people that come there and are equally as important. But the one who has been there since September is a woman. And so remember that they have a whole women's camp. They have a birthing center there. There have been children born there. And in 8 or 9 months, I imagine there'll be a lot more children born there. It is a community, and it is not without its faults. It is not without its struggles. But it's being approached in the way that our people had done for eons before we had any infiltration from Europeans. It is setting an example for the rest of the world if the rest of the world will listen. Native people have been saying for a long, long time, you're polluting the waters. You're destroying the earth. Fracking is going to cause a lot of earthquakes. And what do we have in Oklahoma? Have we never had in Oklahoma? Earthquakes. And people have not been able to listen. And hopefully this will be that rock that's dumped into the middle of a still pond. And we are a part of those concentric circles that go out. And so those of us here are now obligated to do our part. We can't just say it's happening over there. We have pipelines that are going on here. In Heinsberg, there should have been 2,000 people there, not 200. There should have been 2,000 people surrounding each TD bank, not just several hundred. So each of us is responsible for talking to other people, educating other people. And what can we do? We can make a commitment to come together, plan actions here, plan fundraisers here, plan educational talks here, do our own research about the history of the Native people in this country, and really talk about it like it's coming from our heart. Not just something we read in a book. Oh yeah, I read about the Trail of Tears. That was really terrible, all those people that died. Oh, you know, I'm so sorry for that. Well, I gotta go now because I have to get to Starbucks to get my latte and I'm meeting my friend for lunch. How many times do we do things like that? We know that things are really important to the survival of us as a people. And when Standing Rock ends, that's not the end of it. We need to look around the earth and we need to move that whole camp to wherever else there is a crisis going on. A crisis for the earth. You know, we can't put Band-Aids on things anymore. We can't. You know, the young people are saying very clearly to us, we're willing to do the work. And we as their elders, and we are all elders, because there's always somebody younger than us. We are responsible for helping and supporting those young people. And sometimes people might have ideas that are different from ours. That does not mean they're wrong. That just means that they've had different information and they're moving ahead with that information. So judgment is something that I think has destroyed so many movements, so many groups of people that had intentions of doing something good. And then the lateral violence happens. Well, she showed up with a green shawl, and I don't have a green shawl, so it's her privilege that she has a green shawl. So I'm not going to talk to her. I just used you for example. So, you know, we do that in groups. Well, Mary over here, she doesn't want to go down Main Street, and I think we should go down Church Street. So she's wrong. Rather than coming together and talking about, okay, how can we incorporate both of those streets? We need to communicate. We need to learn communication. We need to learn how to talk, and we need to learn how to listen. And we need to set aside our egos and judgment. And that's the one thing that I have carried my whole life, is that I always have to check my ego. I always have to ask Creator, what is best for the whole? What is best for the whole? Not just me, not just for my green shawled friend. And actually, I think it's blue. But it's beautiful. But it's something that none of our leaders to this date have learned how to do, make a decision based for the whole. And so it's something we need to begin to practice. And so, I can't see the clock because we have...
7:25.
It's what?
7:25.
Oh, 7:25, okay. We're supposed to end at 6:30, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
7.
Oh, 7.
Seven.
Oh, 7. Oh, I'm doing good.
We're great.
With another 3 hours. I would like to encourage people who would like to come together again, maybe in a more concrete way to talk about what can we do. What can we do? What skills do each of us have that we could bring to the table, that we can plan an event that will educate people, and how will we go about that? I also would like to put out to those of you who have been to Standing Rock and to those of you who have not, that I have lived in Vermont for 13 years, almost 14. And we live in Huntington. My partner and I live on 101 acres, where we have women's ceremonies in July that last a week long. However, we also have an inipi, or a sweat lodge, there. And we're having sweat lodge ceremonies monthly. And when the winter comes, we kind of have to back off because, unfortunately, we're just two old ladies that live there, and we can't get the wood cut, get the lodge covered, and clear the snow. If there are people that are interested in having that lodge, please contact me and we will set a date. If people will commit to coming and helping do that, I would be honored to pour water for that lodge. But that is the only thing that stops us right now, and it's the weather. I can't say the snow because there's not much snow up there. But, so are there any questions? I usually would go around and pass the feathers and ask if people had questions, but in view of time, are there any questions that anyone has at this point? Maybe Colin can answer them, maybe I can answer them, maybe Catherine or Jessie can answer them. People who have been there, Brittany. No questions? Yes.
So I felt like I was called at the time, and the decision when Trump gets in, and I don't know how long it's going to take before everything should be waiting right now. I mean, it was a good time to leave. Like I said, it's very dangerous to be there. Things are winterized, and only those people who can adapt to that, who are there, can do that. But I would like to, if the calling comes out again, I'd like to be able to go, but I don't want to wait until I'm invited, and not overburden the camp.
Right.
All those people. So my question then would be, would you suggest that would this calling happen? I mean, I'm sure like in another few months we'll know if they're going to go under the lake. And I think you feel there's going to be a calling for people to come back?
I think that there will. I think that if that happens, but I also think that because it is in the court system right now, and if they were to go they're ready to go. They are ready to go, and they've got a bunker set up. They got workers out there. They are fully planning that they're going to get the permit to go under that water. However, I don't know if they are going to be able to, for two reasons. One, they have had some major funders back out. Every day that they're not out there drilling, they are losing millions of dollars. And right now I think that time is on our side, because even when they get into court and they give their reasons why they should be granted the permit, then there's a period of time when a rebuttal comes in, and then it goes on. So this could drag on till June in the court system. And so even if Trump gets in and Trump says, oh yeah, I'm giving you permission to go ahead and go, he really can't do that. He really doesn't have the authority to do that. And if he does, then it'll be one of many major things that he's going to do that violate the Constitution that he so strongly believes in. Yes.
I would just add, anyone is welcome to friend me on Facebook. I'm Catherine Cadden, Cadden. I'm in touch with a lot of the direct action folks and with the Indigenous Youth Council. So I'm aware there will be a call out, but Beverly pointed out, unless you actually have a snowplow and you know how to live in negative 30 Fahrenheit degree average and outside, it's better that you don't go. But please, you can follow me on Facebook, you can private message me, and I can keep you in a loop of yeah, now the call is, because I'll know the call is going to happen before it starts going around on Facebook, or if they're wanting a small group for direct action, or focus people who are trained and ready, because there's different levels. Our heart calls us to go, and then being trained to be there is another thing too. So I'm happy to, and I can answer questions online.
Being trained in nonviolent action is really important. That's really important. When I was there was only 1 or 2 instances where I saw someone lose it and start cursing and wanting to go past those lines and wanting to confront, and they were all young men. And it was amazing to see the elder women, myself included, go up and grab these young men by the arm and start talking to them, saying, remember, we're here to pray. Remember, this is, why we're here. And these young men try to shake us off, and grandmother, leave me alone. And then to have some of the men come in and just take over and turn the person around. That was pretty amazing to me. It was pretty amazing. And as someone who's pushing 70, I was totally blown away by the respect that was shown to the elders. There was one action in which I marched 4 miles in slippers.
Yeah.
In slippers, because I didn't know the action was happening. I went to a pipe ceremony and they said, okay, everybody in the car, we're taking off to an action. And I'm walking along on this gravel dirt road. I said, I have my house slippers on. And at about every quarter of a mile, it was like, Unchi, do you want to get in the car? There's a car following. I said, no. I said, I can take another few steps. And I made it all 4 miles. I was so proud, but I did take a ride back. So I would like to end with a prayer. And Colin, would you honor me by offering a prayer? Everybody will stand, please. Join the circle and hold hands. Remember, if you can get tissue paper between you and the person next to you, you're not standing close enough.
I want to pray to all of four-legged animals, the winged ones, the plants, the mountains, the water, the fire, all the things below us, the soil, the roots, the leaves of the plants which aren't here, the water in the sky as clouds, our animals that live here, the deer, coyote, raccoon, mink, fish, maybe some monster in the lake, the geese, the owls, the squirrels, the pigeons. All these animals are relatives that have been living with us for a really long time. And I think I want to send prayers and love to them, that they're seen and that we can learn to become better in relationship as a family with them. I want to pray to the lake, to our lake here, or the lake in between the mountains, that we keep her safe and clean and healthy, and that we can change the ways of our people here, and we can be leaders in honoring this lake, this beautiful place that we live in, that we've come here on a lot of genocide, and yet this lake still stands here, while the forest, this whole land had been cut down to build buildings for this wave of people, and while I know I feel pain, I want to trust in the Spirit. I want to send love and gratitude to the Spirit of all things that really guides all of our life, and trusting in that Spirit that we're all here for a reason, and this black snake, however evil people may think it is, has brought us together in a good way. And so I want to pray for the community at Standing Rock, for the elders who are sick, for the children, for the mothers and the fathers, the people there who are living. Every day they wake up and they have to stoke the fire, and their hands are really cold and their water is freezing, and they're together in this community. I want to pray for them, for their health, their happiness, that they know that there are people supporting them from afar, and that they feel our prayers. They really feel like they're being supported by people who aren't there right now. I pray for the people of this earth, that we can be together in a good way, in harmony with the earth again.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you for coming, and thank all of you for sharing. I know that Rachel passed around a sign-up sheet for people, and I can be in touch with all of you, or you can be in touch with me. I am on Facebook, Beverly Little Thunder, and I'll answer in time. I'm not a really good, takes a day or two for me to answer, but I will answer. Huh?
Just have a couple housekeeping announcements when you're done.
Okay, I'm done.